All right, we should be live. Just make sure everything's good on YouTube. See if YouTube catches it. And it did. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be out there in TV land. Welcome to another edition of the Jedi Academy. If you're wondering what this is a show where we bring the best and brightest of content creators together and then sprinkle in a little bit of madness of RSG. Glad to have you guys here. I'm your host with the most, Ranger J 1999, and I've compiled some of my favorite people to answer all your Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes questions. That's right, folks. This is a Q&A show, and the way it works is if you got questions about Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, then we're going to give you the best answer we possibly can. And the way it works is if you have a question, all you need to do is pop that question into the chat. Make sure you put question in front of your statement. That's how we kind of do it here. It helps us with Nightbot to filter out all the questions that we get, and we get a lot of questions. So if you've got a question, it would behoove you to get it in now. First come, first serve. That's the way it works here. And we will get to your question. And do make sure you put the word question in front of your statement. Help us help you to help us help you. And then once you do that, then Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman, who is here. Dr. Finn, say good morning.
Good morning.
That's right. Did you have a good breakfast, Finn, full of vitamins and minerals and some coffee?
So I'm not a big coffee drinker.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I've mentioned this before. The only reason I have coffee if I go out for breakfast is because they get free refills. If you get orange juice, they charge per the glass, which is just ridiculous. But coffee, you can kind of just drink as much as you want. So I usually get coffee only for that reason.
Okay.
And so today's breakfast was actually semi-disappointing. So I wanted donuts, and I went to the nearby Dunkin' Donuts, and they didn't have the regular donuts made. They only had half of them made for whatever reason. My favorite ones are the French crullers, and they didn't have any. So then I went to another one, and they also didn't have any. It was bizarre. So I just got a couple of frosted donuts, but yeah. So it's kind of a weird morning, actually. I got donuts, but not the ones that I'd expected.
Okay. A little bit more in depth than what I was prepared for, but this was the true life stories of Dr. Finn Medicine Woman and his donut addiction. Speaking of addiction, someone who doesn't have a donut addiction is our good friend from Colorado, Warrior from Warrior Presents. Hey, Warrior.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Very interesting convo happening.
Yeah, I was about to say, any crazy breakfast stories for you this morning?
No, I drink coffee because I like caffeine.
Yeah.
It helps me feel awake.
Yes, good. Oh, see, Finn, that's a normal human response right there.
Not because I, like black coffee's flavor, because I don't do black coffee most of the time.
No, I don't.
I love my creamer with a little coffee.
Yes, yeah, I like a little cream in that coffee. All right, I like to. All the women just swooned out there in TV land with Warrior saying that, oh. And then also joining us today from his channel, Takedown Games, we've got Stoner Jedi himself, Xylo Takedown, and my young apprentice.
What is up, skewers? What's going on? How are we doing?
We're doing good. And you had, what about you this morning? Breakfast? Any craziness like Finn?
So I'm always terrified to go out to restaurants with the apprentice because he's still young and he has those outburst moments and everything like that.
Good.
All that dark side energy he has flowing through him. You never know when he's just gonna shout out once or twice. So, we went to breakfast and he started daycare this week too. For those who don't know, he started daycare this week, so he's got a new routine going. And then, we went with. What was it, Lauren? Yeah, Lauren. It's a coworker of hers that she works with at the daycare that she's also getting a big workout with Isaiah too. So that's awesome. And yeah, everything's been great. I know he had a great dinner or a great breakfast, and it's been an awesome morning so far. So let's keep rolling.
Yes, my apprentice grows stronger, more focused. All right, so I can see the questions are coming in hot and heavy. Get your questions in, guys. That's the best way to get them. The sooner you get them in, the sooner we'll answer them. So don't be late, because we will have a cutoff time that we will stop scooping up questions. We try to get to all the questions we can, but there's some times where we just can't get to them all. So get your questions in. Not a lot happened this week in Galaxy Heroes. I mean, nothing big or Anything? Let me think. Did anything big happen this week in Galaxy Heroes? Yes, it did. I don't know if we want to talk about it. Warrior, Xylo, Finn. I think we all kind of. I think we beat the cheating thing to death. I think we've all talked about it.
Yeah, I'm getting sick thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm just man. We have been. I saw your video, Warrior. It's been a hot and heavy topic. We've been talking about it pretty much this entire week. What else? Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about what else has been going on this week in Galaxy Heroes. Warrior, anything besides the whole cheating thing that's on your mind with the game and stuff like that?
Well, not like so much in this past, so much as just that really excited for putting out the Ackley video. I recorded my Ackley win last time. I just didn't have time to put it out as a video, but it's coming back up here in a couple of days. And so I'm excited sometime in the next 3 days to produce that and put it out, so people hopefully have a little bit of hope on beating the Ackley. Really keys to stability block, so I'm excited about just kind of showing how something as simple as ability block can help people to conquer, the beast. But we in Team Instinct beat Ma, I think is what they go by now, which was fun because they are like 5 guilds merged now. So it's exciting to
y'all slug it out with them every time.
Yeah,
it's mighty
have high-end competition. It's like this was the most fun territory war we've probably ever had. They have got a really, really, really stacked team now, more than we've ever seen against anybody. And like I said, they've got an alliance merged in with the Mighty Calorians mixed in with the Wallet Warriors, and it's a really stacked and healthy team. Mm-hmm. So to go against that, which we consider to be obviously the top dog other than us, and come out victorious. We only get to do that once every couple of months, so it was good. Win or lose, we wanted to just go in and have as much fun as possible, and we completely changed all the compositions. They actually did too, surprisingly, so it was so much fun to see. People were talking about cheating and how everybody knows what everybody blah blah blah. We're over here like, doing weird comps that I was like, oh, why are we not using Fallen with our Sith Empire? Interesting. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of fun to really see just two teams theory crafting on a level that we don't, most of the population doesn't get to see. It's actually I wish there was some way for like Capital Games to stream that, because that would be a really fun thing for the community to watch in general, just the board and watching the board fall and efficiency and all of that. It would have been a sight to see for the community for sure.
Well, I've always...
a lot of people enjoy.
Yeah, I was...
You mean like some kind of replay mechanic in the game?
What are you talking about, Warrior?
You mean like the ability to watch? No. Yeah, that would be pretty cool too. So, but no, there's not been a whole lot. I mean, I'll be honest. I think a lot of people take us talking about it like that somehow we're like against Bulldog. Like there's people are like divisive naturally. They're like making sides. Like in this corner is Bulldog and in this corner is Capital Games. So like because this is the problem. I heard people over and over and over, especially public mouths like us, us game changers and stuff, or YouTubers, saying that Capital Games doesn't know about it. We need to make them aware about it. We need to show them that it's possible, that their systems don't work, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they're aware of cheating. That was an ignorant statement. If you talk to them for 5 minutes, they know. So, my whole point of my video wasn't to dog Bulldog. I get he had good intentions. It's just sometimes the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Absolutely.
What I mean? sometimes, so, and I think Bulldog's a good guy. I think he meant well. I think that he was trying to do the right thing. And I don't inherently agree with his lifetime ban. I think a 28-day ban, like every other cheater in the world has ever gotten, would have been sufficient. So, there's this gray area in the middle I think the majority of us should live in, which is maybe Bulldog didn't handle it right, but maybe Capital Games isn't handling it right either. And Capital Games is doing stuff, but maybe they're not doing enough. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be whatever.
Right, it's not a be-all, end-all thing, right? We talk about this. It's critical thinking.
You have to go all in on one side or all in on the other. Most of the time, surprisingly enough, it's both sides a little bit, at least. There's some ownership on each side. And I think Bulldog came to that realization finally. We had actually quite a bit of talk, him and I, and came to a point where I think we both started to see kind of eye to eye. The same is true with McMull. I chatted with McMull. He wrote an entire letter, which he did not release. And I'm glad he didn't yet, because sometimes, you just need to let things settle. And I got to read it and got to see his opinions and take. And, after getting some distance, he's realizing that, again, good intentions, but sometimes the delivery can fall short. And so he came to that same realization. And so while I'm not saying that both of them were wrong necessarily, and like they're wrong and they're evil and they're terrible people, like they just did it. They just delivered information possibly the wrong way, and I disagreed with the way they delivered it, and they have come to both that resolution where maybe they did deliver it the wrong way. So I'm happy to see that. I do hope that Capital Games takes a second look and has leniency. The potential of maybe a 1-month reinstatement for Bulldog, and maybe potentially in a 2-week reinstatement for McMull, because both of them have come kind of full circle and have said, yeah, so good intention, bad delivery kind of thing. I really hope that it doesn't exacerbate cheating. I do feel like we talked about it for a week, it probably has. I don't think Grand Arena will come back until they have something new that gives consumer confidence.
Yeah, that's the bigger thing, The
way it is now, and what sucks is everyone loves gag. I mean, overwhelmingly, if you do surveys, it's like 70-something% of the population that play the game actively like that as their number one method. The other one is then territory wars or territory battles. Those are like, territory wars, territory battles, but then Grand Arena is like up there higher. So it would be nice to see them really take this head on. I have a feeling we probably won't see a ton of new content unless it's content that they already had basically built for them to address this, because what they're going to have to do to address it is probably going to take their entire team 3 to 6 months to implement anything even mediocre, and then another 3 to 6 months to implement something more long term. I do know the developers are meeting, because they're not talking right now, which is really stupid, to be honest. They need to communicate with the community. I tell them this all the time, because they are well-intentioned, and I hear a lot of what they're doing, and they just don't share it. And it's like, just tell people what you're doing and help people feel better. So, but they met with Apex Legends developers, because Apex Legends has exactly the same kind of cheating and have done a ton of things to counteract it because of how popular Apex is. And so they were meeting this last week with Apex Legends actually to pull some of their techniques and tools and see what it is and how it is and all of that and what it would take to implement. They're talking about battle logs, possibly. There's pros and cons to that. There is a debate, obviously. So there's a lot of motion. And I'll tell you, if you're listening to this and you're not a cheater, good for you. You don't want to get your 3 million or 4 million or 5 million account banned all because you thought you could get away with it for 2 months. You know what I mean? And then if you are a cheater, I promise you're on a log. They have a log of all anomalies. So you are on a log, and eventually they will go through the log and find you. There was 2 people in the top 50 of Kyber that just got banned, and they're not happy about it. They're, in the cheating community apparently talking about it. So, it's not worth it. It really isn't. And plus, what's worth it? You cheat all that time. Also, you can get a couple extra, Zeta, and eventually be caught. Is it immediate and is it fast? No. I mean, I think their logs are 3 to 6 weeks back right now. So, I think the message people need to know is if you cheat, you are on a log, you will get banned. It's just because it's taking 3 to 6 months to go through these logs that it's not as proactive as we as a community want or need. So I would not cheat if I were you, because you will regret it and you'll be pissed that you invested whatever money you invested in. If it's a free to play account and you don't care, then you're just a jerk.
Well, some people are like that, Warrior, and we know that. So, I mean, if you're gonna cheat, you're gonna cheat. That just says something about you and your character. So I'm not gonna get to the social mentality of people that cheat and why they do it and stuff. I mean, we'll be here for 2 hours talking about that subject. We can make a whole video series about that nonsense. But well said. Zyla, what's on your mind?
Well, again, we've been kind of going back and forth on this since the whole epidemic started. I would say if you're a fan of these content creators too, Bulldog just posted a Q&A about the video.
I watched it. Yeah.
The incident. Yeah. So if you haven't seen that, or if you're not up to speed with the information, I would definitely suggest going and check that out. As a background community member, I like to, keep in touch with certain things, and I'm on a lot of Discords, and seeing the messages and the aftermath after the video and the ban and everything. It had me a little worried for the game for a bit there, and then like Warren mentioned, Bulldog's a great, transparent guy, and he did everything right in my opinion. Other than the terms of service violation, of course. I mean, he tried to communicate. He tried to bring it to their attention. CG gave him the cold shoulder like they're famous for, and I think that also has something to do with Top Hat taking over and Carrie being MIA for the last couple weeks, and those shoes are a lot to fill from a communication aspect. Warrior mentioned about them opening up and communicating. The main problem, and this is just a theory for me, is that I think that they just don't know how to address exactly what they want to advertise to the public, right? Like, they don't want to advertise the cheating content, obviously, and that's what a lot of the content creators did, so big shout out to those guys. And I mean, again, the cheating community knows what they're doing. Like Warrior said, that it's just how are they going to start this process, and how are they going to expose the cheaters? Do they expect us as players to just constantly report players, or is there more of a system and plan? Is there more of a cause and effect? What can we do to prevent this? Like the replays, of course, or even just showing what characters players use to beat the squads that you place down on defense for Territory Wars and Grand Arena. So, I mean, we've really been wanting to see like a replay or something like that in the works. So I hope that's coming around the corner. And aside from all the cheating and all the negative stuff, something a little more positive, the Padme event, obviously, a lot of people struggled the first time around, and you had to grind and get a lot of those characters up to gear 12 and the right mods just to get her 7 stars the first time around. So I'm happy for all the players that had much more of a comfortable time this time around, being able to access her a little more quickly because of this big cause and effect she's had in the game in general, right? She's, a great team. She's kind of crippling to the Jedi Revan team if that's all you have at the moment, but it also allows you to create a kind of second tier A grade team. And I really like the fact that they made Padme more accessible with all the separatist reworks and even the geos, the jam about the
that took us all by surprise.
Especially with the assist mechanics and everything too. I was just blown away, and it just shows how dominant Hive Mind and the Hive mechanic is, and Brute Alpha. So, I mean, if you haven't already, start getting those guys up to gear 12, and I'm considering pushing some of them to 13. So, I hope everybody's doing well, and Territory Wars, just have some fun this weekend.
Absolutely. We got a donation from us, Mike, for $5. He says, it's a happy Saturday morning listening to Jedi Academy, and he put, here's a little something for Finity to buy OJ.
I will buy an orange juice.
There you
on
go.
behalf of Most FIC later today.
No, the question is it free orange juice?
No, I will actually go and buy a glass of orange juice for Most FIC.
That's right. Look who joined us. Well. It's been a while. Look, it's Carolina's finest. Good old Maurice. Good old Maurice, what are you doing, you crazy bastard?
Good morning.
Good morning. What's going on in your mind this week in Galaxy Heroes?
I've actually been out of the country for the last 8 days.
Oh, good. Oh, Dave, you came back. I mean, welcome back.
No, I don't know. You guys covered everything great. The cheaters should really be embarrassed, right? They spent a full month cheating to get like 2,000 extra currency, and like 3 extra Zeta mats, and you've effectively, you potentially have delayed the next Grand Arena, for an unknown amount of time, So I don't know. It's silly. I don't know. You guys covered everything so well with them. I don't need to discuss it. But
well, what else on your mind? Anything else going on? I know you've been out of the country, but anything else in Galaxy Heroes?
Been out of the country. That's just
oh well, I thought you were on some kind of witness protection or something. I don't know. I don't know you.
I will say, to further escalate my first cardiac arrest, Bojangles, they have the Cajun chicken biscuit.
Oh yes, you've talked about this before.
Yes, you can get the Cajun chicken biscuit with pimento cheese on it now. So, yeah, good stuff.
Make sure you drink some OJ with it.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking about just going with whole milk.
Whole milk, okay. No coffee, whole milk. So we got a little bit of variety in our Jedi Academy breakfast rituals. I am drinking water with lemon because I.
That sounds exciting.
Now, usually I start off with that first thing in the morning when I wake up, and then I'll drink coffee afterwards for a little bit because when you stream early in the morning on a Saturday, can't need caffeine. So, all right. So, boy, the questions are coming in hot off the presses. Dr. Finn, are you ready for this?
Of course.
I mean, I know you do. I know you didn't have any OJ, but are you ready spiritually, mentally, psychologically?
I'm hopped up on donuts, so yeah, I'm good.
Oh, Lord. Don't crash on us. Don't have a sugar crash. Please.
I'll end up crashing right around noon.
Oh, Jesus. No wonder you take naps on that damn sugar, man.
Yep. Sugar, Bob Ross, and then fall asleep. That's my weekend ritual.
God, it's so ridiculous. Jesus. Oh, Lord. All right, let's get to the questions. They're coming in full throttle. So we'll start with Warrior and work our way around.
All right. So Warrior question from Crispy Biscuits, which is just an appropriate name to start out with, I have to say. So, Crispy Biscuits asks, how do you mod Vandor Chewie, and how important is speed for him? Under Kira lead, what are 3 other good characters for a scoundrel defense?
All right, so that's a multi-question. So let me go ahead and kind of break it down. Let me go to my smugglers because I want to talk about the smuggler team as how I would run it with Kira. The way I have Vandor, and I think a lot of people did, was health mods, like 3 health sets. I do have a speed arrow because it's nice to have someone who is going more than not. Vandor can just kind of sit there like a bump on a log. So we got a speed arrow. On the triangle, you really probably should do protection, but I did defense because that particular mod had a ridiculous amount of health, like 5% health as a secondary, and like 4% tenacity. So and speed. So it was a really good mod. So I went to defense. And then I went with health and health on the bottom. So like the plus and the cross were both health and health on the primaries with speed secondaries. So health sets with health primaries. The goal with Vandor is just to make him very, very healthy. I mean, if you can get him between 40 to 50,000 health and over 200 speed, he's going to be a solid addition to any team. And then under Kira, you said, what team would you want to use? And really, I would stick with smugglers. I would make it a smuggler team. And I would make it a prepared team. You'd be surprised how amazing prepared is.
It's awesome.
Sometimes people take an Old Republic and blend the Old Republic into it, which is cool because you get multiple tanks. But people use Kira lead, L3 Vandor, and with L3 and Vandor on the team, that's really great. And then you can put in young Lando, young Han Solo, and make it like a purebred team, or you could throw in Infus Nest on that team just because she is really great under Kira. I've seen people go crazy and go Kira, Vandor, L3, Chewie, and Han. However, most people use Chewie and Han on offense just because of their versatility. But young Han Solo is amazing, really massive damage dealer if you mod him right, offense and crit chance. And then young Lando passes around a bunch of prepared to the whole team, keeps them prepared. So Vander's over there constantly. Now, I do know a lot of people, in fact, myself, what we'll use is actually Han Solo, the Captain Han Solo, the one that gives daze and also can revive. And the reason why is he's there obviously to daze, to revive. And if people go for him, he can get prepared given over to him, and Vandor can revive him. And if you kill Vandor, he can revive Vandor. So I know a lot of people that kind of plug and play that guy in there, but I just think kind of a purebred prepared team really works best. I think a lot of people don't realize if you use young Lando, just how good the team actually becomes when it's a purebred team. So, but you can always change things up a little bit. You can always throw different characters in there. I went against Akira, Vandor, L3 with the veteran smuggler, Han and Chewie. And it's like, if you're going to waste all the energy putting into them for Jedi training Rey, you might as well use them kind of thing. And that was kind of the mindset. So he put them in there. And surprisingly, between the two veterans, they have pretty much all the debuffs in the game. And, they have stacking offense and other stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy to watch them under Kira get the bonuses and start hitting for 20, 25K. And you're like, what is going on? These are the bets. But so it's all about using what you have, I guess. But, if you can go like a purebred smuggler team, I would. And then just consider using Nest in there, because even though this team, the smuggler team, is kind of a B-level team, maybe almost a C-level team for defense at the highest end, it's really almost an A-level team in the mid-range game. Like if you're 3 to 4.5 million, this is really an A-level defense. And if you put Nest in there, it makes it like basically an A-level defense, because now they have to deal with it. So that's what I would do.
All right, next question for Stoner Jedi.
Okay, so question for you, Xylo, from Darth Scion 1972 is, you're creeping up on 150 Jedi Academies. Any fun plans for 150? I'm thinking a greatest hits of the past 150 episodes. I'll give you another question too, Xylo, but I wanted to throw that at you.
150. Wow, man. I mean, I've probably only been here for like a third of them, to be fair, but I mean, wow, what should we do, guys? Maybe go like extra hour or two, maybe start a little later or start a little earlier, something like that. I don't know.
I will have orange juice.
Oh, yeah, let's see.
We can have Ouchie throwing people in the Sarlacc live.
As long as they have their pickles out, that's all that matters.
If those pickles aren't out and you say something about Captain America, you're going in the Sarlacc.
I could do the worm again for you guys.
Oh God, no! I'm not doing that to you. Talk about hurting your pickle.
Well, just start picking a random dance and start dancing on the live show.
I know, right?
All right, so here's another question for you, Xylo. Real question. Taylor Fraley says, I geared 13 my crew recently and am considering doing First Order Stormtrooper. Is it worth it?
Well, first off, congratulations. If you've invested in your crew, you're a fan of mine. And I mean, First Order Stormtrooper, he just feels like one of those tanks that was lacking that extra bit of survivability, and his Zeta kind of made him more of an offensive presence kind of character. So I mean, I think it would be a great investment for you, because then you have both tanks at their max potential, plenty of survivability. If you were going to go for a second one, I mean, you already have the tank with crew, so you could do Mass Kylo just to increase his speed, his damage, his health and protection. I'm sure if you've already taken that leap and put him at Gear 13, you have all the right Zetas, and you have the Zeta on both Kylo Rens. So, It would be either between that First Order Stormtrooper Masked Kylo for me for Gear 13, and then again, if you're going down the rabbit hole, go down the rabbit hole. Go down there, put one on, or put Gear 13 on Stormtrooper, and then go something more offensive minded, right? Like Kylo Ren's definitely going to get a lot of speed, and then the fourth one would definitely be Executioner. And you could go either officer or special forces, TIE fighter pilot, whichever one you prefer. So, but officer is a lot faster.
Science. I like it. Good response, Sally. You get to live a little bit longer. All right. Next question to Carolina's finest.
Former Carolina's finest. Now he's in a different country.
Oh, well, yeah. Ireland's finest Southern gentleman, good old Maurice.
All right, good old Maurice. Question from Joao Cavalcanti says, I'm on my way to my 4th Gear 13, but I feel I'm too slow in gearing. What's the optimal way to complete the gear level finishers besides buying them in the shop?
Well, I can tell you what I'm doing, but I'm not sure. You know, I've got a very high GP, so I don't really need a lot of the. I've completed all the farms out of the fleet battles, like all my hard nodes and stuff. I pretty much got done, but I pluck the new pieces from the light and dark side nodes, and I pluck any of the Gear 12 plus finishers. Hopefully, I get lucky in the raid. If I don't, then I'll just farm them from the fleet store. And the guild store for me personally has basically just turned into a MK5 droid collar factory. That's the only thing I really buy out of the guild store now. Just because 2 of the 3 pieces take 50 of them, and you can't use a fully crafted one if it drops from you for the rank, where you have to use the salvage. That's basically all my guild store currency is pretty much towards droid collars and the mod slicing, the 6E, the red button. I can't think of the name of it right now, but those 2 things are pretty much the only thing I buy from the guild store, and then just kind of farm up as I need. You did get a little bit of currency from your Grand Arena, but you drain that super quick. So that's always an option as well. I would get the Sith Raid stuff probably from the guild store if you want to go the gear route from there. So it just takes time. It's super, super slow. Even if you want to supplement some of the pieces with crystals, it's still very, very slow grind. You'll get there. Just make good decisions. What's important is to keep focusing on mods. You can't neglect mods to go Gear 13, because there's, a lot of people are going to have Gear 13 is weighted so odd in Grand Arena anyway. You're going to be facing people with tons more Gear 13s, but if you have the mods to compete with them, it's more of a fair fight. So do continue to focus on mods as well. If that's not jumping topic, sorry.
That's why you're in another country. I'm kidding. He's not in another country. Don't send questions in here.
No, I was just trying to avoid the cheating discussions.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make sure to give you that question.
Yes, make sure he gets all those questions.
That's fine. I mean, I'll answer it. Just.
By the way, you're on the RSG channel, so feel free. As long as you don't talk about what exactly to do in order to cheat, I don't give a crap.
Oh yeah. I'll never physically mention what the thing is.
Yeah, like you don't be like, so step 1, like no, mute.
All right, so
back to Warrior.
Next question, for Warrior. So, question is from Paparazzi, and the question is for you, Warrior. She says, my guild's theory crafters are convinced that TI has a top secret Darth Revan killer team involving Wampa and Zeta Bastila. Will you tell us the truth here and now? And if so, what is it?
So Bastila and Wampa is a really cool team. It's not super secret, but I've talked about it on this stream many times, so it's not secret. But it's more, you can kill Night Sisters very easily with it, but it is not a super secret team to kill Darth Revan teams. So no, that is here and now, factually inaccurate.
Yeah, I've tried it too, and I mean, like all my content isn't maxed out like that, but it doesn't work.
All right, so I'll give you another question here too, then Warrior, from Darth Sion 1972 for you. It says, with the cheating scandal revealed this week, are you more apt now not to spend until this is resolved? I feel the integrity of the game is at an all-time low.
I mean, yeah, it's very difficult to have any desire to want to put anything into something when you feel like that it's broken. And I've personally firsthand seen at the studio them how they have implemented cheat bots and how they have these logs that have people's names on them and all this kind of stuff and how they work through it. And we have a small community of people within that community that are like looking through the logs and going through and analyzing everything to see if this person in fact cheated. And so having been there, it like instilled a level of confidence in them that I guess nobody else in the community had or has. So I've been, I wouldn't say that I'm on their corner, but I definitely have defended them a little bit because they have been doing stuff about it. But now after having, seen it hit the public and go for, months, I had no idea that somebody could do it for months before they got caught. I thought it was like, they did it for a few weeks and got caught. I didn't realize that they could do it for a few months before. So it was one of those things where, I really want them to address this for the sake of the health of the game long term, for sure.
All right. Next question to the apprentice father.
All right. Let me know if I start breaking up because I think my internet is kind of getting wonky.
Oh, you sound fine right now.
Okay. So a question for Xylo from SithLord72. Didn't CG post something that if you were cheated out of Grand Arena Championship rewards, they'd give us the rewards we should have gotten? I reported my last opponent as he clearly cheated and have gotten nothing.
I've heard some instances from the cheating in the past. I mean, it's CG though, so unfortunately, the method at that point is that you've made the report, you've already taken the right steps, it's on the forums now as a report. So, I mean, you just have to keep pressing that thread. Really, I mean, you have to drive CG until they respond to you, or they at least come to an agreement, meet you in the middle somewhere, right? I mean, they'll, like, before I can give you a personal experience of mine. When I was doing a raid, in the middle of the raid, the game reset, and then the raid was over, and the players who had already finished the raid, you know what I mean? Like, so I put in a ticket for that because of the bug. I'm hoping for like some compensation for some like minuscule raid rewards, right? As opposed to not placing in the raid at all. And this is probably like a year or two ago, mind you. But I didn't get a response back from them for like 2 weeks, and then they, made some minuscule compensation at that time. But it took them a while because they prioritize everybody. You got to imagine too how many people are getting reports for these bugs, right? And for the cheaters, or that the fact that they have to elaborate the situation first and decide whether it was somebody who cheated or not, or someone crying wolf. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different people right now going through the same experience. So in my opinion, I think they'll probably end up doing something more as a grouping situation, especially since Grand Arena Championships, some people were a bit iffy about the cheating. There was even some content creators on live streams, like DB Official 125, for example. His very last stream at the end of the Grand Arena Championships, somebody was cheating live on his stream. So, I mean, I feel like that they're going to do something more of a community dispute, like, oh, well, we apologize for the inconvenience and the cheating aspects in Grand Arena, and probably give the community a little extra giving, and then just kind of compensate with what we already gotten from Grand Arena. So.
All right. Next question to Man on a Run, good old Maurice.
All right. So good old Maurice, the next question from SithLord72. He says, is anyone's guildmates boycotting Grand Arena Championship next time it comes around if the issues aren't fixed? My cluster of guilds have multiple members who are asking for refunds and not going to join the next GAC.
Well, I don't think refusing to sign up for Grand Arena is really going to do anything except hurt yourself. If you want to stop spending, and then that's a way to maybe make a point, I suppose. Not signing up and neglecting yourself from all the rewards that come with the game mode isn't. I mean, I don't think that's really going to raise an eyebrow. I mean, perhaps, I guess if you get, half the player base to do so, I think Warrior mentioned it earlier. I think, I don't think there's going to be a grand arena. So something is resolved. A change is made of some sort. So with all the public awareness now, what's going to happen is, I don't know, the cheating might be more prevalent now, but what's going to happen is, if they release Grand Arena tomorrow, we start another one, it's going to turn into a witch hunt, right? And everyone, if somebody loses, because if somebody scores 1,900 points, the amount of reports and people getting reported is probably going to go through the roof, right? So it's going to make it harder to detect,
right?
Harder to monitor. So I don't sign up for Grand Arena. Get yourself some awards. Don't spend any money if you don't want to. Sure, maybe just place auto set defense. You don't have to physically participate in it if you don't want to, but not signing up is not really proving a point. It's just kind of hurting yourself. I haven't heard of anybody boycotting Grand Arena in my guild. No.
Well, and if I could chime in on that one too, real quick, because you're kind of like you said, disincentivizing the game mode, but you're not creating like a positive incentive for yourself either, because you're getting the Grand Arena rewards and then you're also hurting your lifetime score as well. Because if you're not increasing that lifetime score, I think that the lifetime score will play a factor in the next algorithm matchmaking system, right? So if you're not increasing that lifetime score, you could be dropped down into an even lower bracket at that point, or a starting point with your lifetime score, right? So you want to play it.
Well, you're hurting your guild too, if you think about it, because Grand Arena, not only do you get to practice counters, but you get to see interesting stuff other people are placing. You're missing out on 12 unique experiences where you could see maybe something brand new. You're like, oh wow, this defense was terrible. Then you bring it, or not terrible, this defense was fantastic, and you bring it to your guild and show them how it works. Show them the mods and stuff you guys run at TW. Who knows? Maybe it helps your TW. So you're almost hurting your guild by not participating. At least, not signing up, you don't even get to look at what people place on defense. And I've got a lot of ideas. I faced a lot of good opponents in my Grand Arena, and it's this past month I've changed up my tabs in game a lot, just based on what I've seen and creative teams other people have come up with. So, don't do that.
It's definitely you're stunting yourself by not learning more, definitely, and you got to get your hands dirty, right? Like you have to learn the counters, you have to learn your roster, what you're using what for, and then learn from your mistakes too. Like me personally, I still go back and watch a lot of film from the losses, or the teams that I didn't one shot, and what could I have done better, right?
All right, Zyla, turn up your mic. You're a little low. Warrior, they're saying your volume's a little low too. And the next question goes to Warrior.
Okay. So Warrior, question from Ray Rock. Question is, have you geared up the droid ship, and have you done some testing on it? I know Paul Anthony has already 7-starred and geared it up. I didn't know Paul had already done that. Oh, there you go.
So I hope I sound fine. I'm using the same thing I use every single week, so it should be good. I have it at 3 stars maxed. I'm not spending money right now, so I'm not going to level it up or max it out. And at 3 stars, it is squishier than Beetle at summertime. So it's just one of those things I can't really test it in my shard, because you put it in and it just gets, destroyed before. It seems like it's targeted, like it's a priority target in the game. I do know that. Seems like every time it's in my front 3, it's the first ship that's just decimated. And it's killed before I can even get my taunt off, even with Houndstooth getting all the bonus turn meter to use his ability. It's like, whoop, gone, never mind. Okay. So yeah, it's, I don't know. I think it's 7 stars. It's going to be great. I think that it's a ship. I'm going to tell you this all. It's a ship that as soon as it becomes free-to-play farmable, everyone should max. And this is why. I think it's 7 stars. It'll be fine. It'll be actually super good. And it, at 7 stars, just melts the Houndstooth, which is another method of melting the Houndstooth. And it's going to be future meta. So, and that's part about it. You don't have to do a character with it. You can just do the ship itself. So it's like a win-win-win, honestly. So I'm super excited about it, and I'm that's why I maxed it out. Except for I'm like I said, I'm not buying those stars. I'm gonna let it sit. It's future meta, not current meta. So I'm okay with letting it sit at 3 stars in my inventory until I get it goes free to play farmable in 3 months, and then I'll max it out then, and that's totally fine with me. But at 3 stars, not viable, can't really test. And what's up, Ray Rock? Whoa, what's up?
All right. Real quick, guys, we got 110 people watching us and only 20 thumbs up. Can we get some thumbs up? Lick that like button, as Algie would say. So if we get some love there, if anybody listening out there in TV land wouldn't mind give us a like, it'd be very much appreciated. Next question goes to Stoner.
Okay. So for Xylo, this question is from Darsion 1972, and the question is, why when things quote unquote hit the fan in the game, CG makes one post and then nothing? Wouldn't they benefit more by increasing communication and reassuring the community they're dedicated to fix this?
I mean, I say it probably once a day. Communication's key, right? So I mean, I think at the end of the day, they're just treading waters right now. Like they don't know how to communicate what they want to say right now. I mean, or else we'd see a post, right? I mean, the last post was pretty brief. Am I missing anything else there in that question?
No, that's pretty much it. It was asking about just the communication and why CG kind of does this every time, which is just like one communication and then silence for a while.
Well, one more thing I would like to add. I think with Carrie, she was like, that was her main focus, was like, I'm here for the community. I want to be the voice of this community as the CG aspect person. I think that they're not just revising how and what they say, but they want to make sure that they make everybody happy. And this is something that's gonna, upset a lot of players. And it's not an easy situation, right? So we got to give them some slack. We got to give them some understanding. It's not like we're disincentivizing playing the game right now. And yeah, there are some players you know what I mean? A lot of players are like, why should we keep playing this? Or why should I put up with this if there's still been cheating since tournaments? And, I can't disincentivize that, but what I can say is that, I think that the communication will improve again, and that I think that the cheating aspect will be something of the past down the road. So.
All right. Next question for someone in the boonies in Carolina, not in Europe. Good old Maurice.
Let's keep with the theme, because I know good old Maurice loves this theme.
Yes, so he loves it. He
from
loves it.
Says Capital Games has gone from one dumpster fire to another for around the last 9 months. What can CG do to improve?
Well, I don't think they do a terrible job of communicating. I mean, if we travel back in time 2 years ago, the communication is much, much better than it was. And that's, I mean, they can't go into crazy amounts of details regarding this because, you don't want to, while the public is aware that there's cheating, you don't want to basically tell everybody how to do it. Like you can't have CG publicly saying, this is what's going on, blah, 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 blah. I don't know the best way to fix this. I'm not a game developer. I don't know the ways that you go about preventing stuff like this. I think that doing something before the next Grand Arena, perhaps making another exhibition, just to test it out again. Maybe I've heard lots of good suggestions. Everyone, replay. I mean, that's a great suggestion. At the very minimum, maybe just you can go in and click your defense and see what they physically used. Just something that's simple. You can go into their roster and look, but I mean, just from their end, I'm not sure how to fix this just because I'm not a game developer, but up communication, maybe, I mean, I don't know, maybe hire, they seem to be outsourcing help to handle this from the Apex Legends team. That's a very, very big game, much, much bigger than this. And that's probably cheating in that game is probably running way more rampant than it is here. So, they're taking steps just as long as they communicate the steps, even if it's just a brief little post, maybe just have, a post updating, like, hey guys, today we did this. A week later, like, hey, we've implemented this, we've hired this person, we're doing this, just keeping us aware of what's going on. Yeah.
I would actually take it to the next level. I would actually use marketing dollars to actually make a 30-second to 45-second video for YouTube that actually introduces the anti-cheat team, that actually shows them at work. And actually, I would start publicly shaming the cheaters that they're busting. I hate to say it, but I would be posting it. If people see a list every day of the 10, 15, 20, 30 people that day that got processed and are being moved out for life, they will realize, one, they're doing something about it. It may not move as fast as we want, but they're doing something about it. Two, these are real people losing their accounts for life. And three, they're putting it on the forefront of what is their passion and what they're going for. Is there an under visceral belly of this community that people that are cheating and getting away with it for a period of time? Yes. Are there people that know how to mitigate how much they're cheating so they can kind of evade detection? Yes. So I get that there's more tools that need to come to light, but I would take it the next route. I would actually use, like I said, marketing dollars to literally go out and make a video and showcase this. And then I would have a cheater's corner or something on the forums where it shows a daily log of who they're banning kind of thing. I know that some people would disagree with that. This is kind of rude, but it's we have a blog, a blotter, in my town, in the paper, where everyone that got arrested the night before goes into the paper and it shows who got arrested for what. It's just more of education. So I think that they could do something like that.
Interesting. So sorry, I just wanted to jump ahead to another question that somebody posted. So I'm jumping ahead a little on the list, but it kind of goes to what Warrior was just mentioning too. So I'll just kind of throw it to all of you guys. So Wolffell asks, not all people are deep in the community as others. Should they add something to a player's profile that had a permaban but then reinstated to give players a heads up to watch this player more closely? So basically like scarlet lettering his account in game or something like that, so common players understand that this is a account of a cheater type thing.
I like the public shaming concept a lot. I haven't even thought about that. I like that a lot. That kind of is a deterrent too, because unfortunately, we're dealing with cheating. The developers are 9 times out of 10 in like a reactive type of approach. You can't really be proactive about hackers and cheaters coming up with brand new stuff to use. This would be maybe hopefully a way to both the badge and just maybe keeping a log, like a publicly viewable log on the forums of everyone that's been banned. I think that would maybe deter a few instances of it. That I like those ideas a lot.
Well, to bring up what Ouchie says too in the chat too, the cheaters like the notoriety too sometimes. So if you're advertising that they are cheating and you're advertising that they're doing something, some people they enjoy it, and
but that's still they can enjoy it all they want. That's just because they're a sociopath doesn't mean that we should care.
Totally. But they're gonna get that thrill of the attention.
I know, but that's not good attention.
But there's other things, right? So if you have a list of cheaters, the higher level guilds will probably look at that when recruiting and not take those kind of people into their guild, because they risk anything regarding territory wars and territory battles for the entire guild if a cheater comes in. So they may like the notoriety, but they might have other things happening in terms of the regular community reacting to them being on the list that they wouldn't otherwise expect.
Yeah. The one thing about this game that I've never understood from a marketing aspect, or you can chime on this, good old Maurice, we're all business marketing majors, Finn, you are too. I've never understood, with social media being such a huge part of the everyday marketing and becoming more prevalent as the way for advertisers that are focusing more and more on social media platforms, why Capital Games has never had a person on social media or their own YouTube page where they could have someone in there posting videos and answering questions to the community to have a face. The most we've ever gotten is responses on Reddit or the forums. And I've never understood that because, you know, things get lost in translation and stuff. But if you put a face to the company and do stuff like you mentioned, Warrior, where you're like showing the names and talking about this stuff, I think it would go a long way for them to, you know, cut off some of this nonsense before it even begins. You know, I mean, people may not like the answer, but when you got someone that's up there, you know, speaking about it, then they may not be able to go into depth of things, or, you know, but I mean, it's something more than what we've got now. You know, it's like, okay, here's a forum post. Well, great, but now I can't interact with you and ask you questions about what you wrote, right? What did you mean by this, right? You know, this past week when they wrote, they've, you know, the 30% number. Me and Finn looked at that and had like 10 questions that related to that 30% number. And if they had someone on social media on their own YouTube page, I think it'd go a long way. It's baffled me in this day and age that they don't have something like that set up. I just don't understand it. Anybody else think that's something they should be doing? I mean, or am I crazy?
I mean, so just a kind of a common thing for a lot of these, they're afraid to put too many things down in traceable forms because it can come back to haunt them. That's my only guess as to why they haven't done as much communication as maybe the community wants. And it's common for a lot of games because once they say something, it can be brought back against them if anything changes.
But that's what a public relations person is supposed to be able to do.
What they're supposed. Yeah, I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I'm just saying that's what happens, right? And so the easiest example, we know that the communication part was not part of Carrie's job.
No.
She took it upon herself to do it. How many times has her Twitter feed come up as a point of discussion? And she's kind of said it herself, right? Sometimes she says things and maybe she shouldn't have said it, but she was doing this kind of on her own, right? And that, to some extent, it added a lot of pressure on her because there was a lot of other feedback, and people in general can be vile and cruel and stuff. But I mean, that's my only guess as to why it isn't. I don't have anything inside to comment. Just in general, more people, like companies like this, are going to be very hesitant to try and put too much down on paper for people to be able to trace. And
yeah,
want more communication. This game has provided more communication than a lot of other games that I've played.
Sure.
So it's already in a better state. It's just we want more. As players, we always want more. And at some point, when these are kind of the issues that are coming up, more communication is needed. I don't even necessarily think we need consistent more communication. I think the level of communication that they had leading up to all of the video posts and everything was okay. I think a lot of us that just know in general figure that cheating was going on. We knew that from tournaments. I was more upset really that they never really did anything to stop it since tournaments. The posts that they put saying that they worked on some of the security measures and all of that was nice, but it really doesn't seem to be that effective. And so I don't know. I don't think that communication to some part is important, but also more details on the actions are more important. And they haven't really done too much on that front.
All right. Let's get to the next question. Finn, I lost track of who it was. Who had the last question?
I think that was to good old Maurice.
All right, so then we're back up to my apprentice is there. Yes, kill your father. Don't let him answer another question till he shaves. Back up to Warrior then.
All right, so Warrior, question from Joao Cavalcanti. He says, my guild seems to get really lost with the 36-hour TB phases. How do you guys organize the schedules for the phases?
Well, we let everybody be adults, and there's not a whole lot of structure. Trust me. It's just there's 18 hours, so the first 6 hours it's about filling the whatever they're called. You know what I'm talking about.
Platoons.
Yeah, platoons. Thank you. It's about filling platoons. After platoons are filled, then we can go in. they tell us basically the 4 teams they would like us to be using that they know we have the highest success rate with, which is like, Sith Empire and Night Sisters and Bounty Hunters and Atreya Sith team. Those kinds of teams that General Grievous droids, the Geonosians, the bugs. There's some of them are required on certain nodes, but those 6 teams are like they do the best for dark side teams at clearing. So they, the thing with donations is if you're going to donate your Mother Talzin, then donate your Night Sisters. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're going to handicap yourself, be a team player and handicap that entire team. There's 6 possible teams to use. So handicap that team and then just know you're down 1 team. And if everybody, if someone puts in their Darth Revan, well, screw it. Just, put in the rest kind of thing. So we try to be a team player and everybody kind of goes in and puts a team into them. They also fortuitously look, because Capital Games has it listed, as to what will be donated per day and stuff in which section. And they'll, before it launches, they'll say, they don't tell us the whole team that we have to donate or anything like that, but they'll say, we need 13 Darth Revans. Warrior, you're donating a Darth Revan. So it's like, okay, I've got to do it. And they've got to understand that I have the number 1 team in the game that I don't get to use. So they have to understand if I get 3 out of 4, it's, it is what it is kind of thing. So I'm using Bounty Hunters there instead of Sith Empire. And they're okay with that. They get that. The understanding is that the vast majority of people are going to get 4 out of 4 because we're completing those platoons and my sacrifice is causing everyone else. Plus the truth is in day 1, 2, and 3, it's easy to actually 404 everything once you have everything gear 12 and know what you're doing, kill order and all that. So 404 is not hard even if you're handicapped. It's the 4th day that's like that 4th,
Yeah, that's when we get hurt, Warrior. It hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's 104, 204, 304, 404. It's a full spectrum. You'll get people that are using an all gear 13 team with God mods, and they're getting 404, going, man, we're rocking it all. And then you get the other guy who's kind of on the lower end of mods that doesn't want a 2 or 104 or 204, and is like, yeah, right. So it's but the first 6 hours we try and knock out the administrative stuff, figuring out who's donating what and get those donations done. And then a lot of times they'll make suggestions, like, for example, you will see Mace Windu on the bottom more than you'll see him on the top. So we don't use bounty hunters on the bottom because he just destroys the bounty hunter team. But bounty hunters tend to do a little better when you don't have the mace populating. So we try to use the bounty hunter team like in the middle or in the top more. We tend to get more 404s that way. So there's little things you learn like that, little tweaks that you learn like that kind of help. I'm hoping some of that helps whatever I've blabbed out.
Yeah, I donate all the time. A lot of times, I'll be like, in for a penny, out for a pound. It's like, well, I give Darth Revan. Here's my Malak. Here's my Fallen Bastila. There's, okay, well, you guys better do good or I'm going to be very angry. I'm going to slap Stunner Jedi if he doesn't get 4 for 4. Speaking of Stunner Jedi, my apprentice is there. I see him. Is he eating Cheerios? No, apprentice, don't touch the screen.
No, he's playing on his alt.
That's right. Kid, only dark side. Use dark side, my apprentice. I like your look. It looks... No, quit reaching. No, don't touch. Next question for Stunner Jedi.
Okay. So Xylo, question to you from Darkseid 1972. Did anyone notice the cryotech drop rates might have been increased? I've been farming them for a week. Oh, I heard a giggle just as I asked that question. So I think there's your response. I've been farming them for a week and getting great results every day. Anyone else experiencing this?
I mean, honestly, I've been casually farming them as I buy them out of shipments too. So like I'll farm 50 and then I'll buy 50, right? So it's a little cheaper that way. Honestly, the drop rates for me have been about the same. I mean, I've heard a little under and a little over 30%. I would say the average is like 30 to 35% drop rate anyways. And I mean, it makes sense. It's end game content and end game gear. And I mean, it's necessary gear for all these newer characters too. So if they have that cadence to where every time they release a new character now that it's going to have cryotech on it, aside from the finisher pieces, of course, we already know those are there. But like Shock T, for example, Shock T being a marquee character, and she takes 4 of them. So I think that they're just trying to make them more accessible with the championship store, and then using Get 2 for them too as well. I wouldn't advise that right now, of course, but imagine when you finish like the negotiator, and let's say, for example, the malevolence is for Get 2 currency. Once you finish those 2, it's just like when you finish Malik, Wampa, and Hoda, that store basically becomes everything for Gear 12 and a bunch of stun guns, basically. So it's just a timing effect, like when you can start utilizing other ways to get the cryotechs other than farming them out of shipments or the championship store. So the drop rates on them, again, I would say that 1 and 3 makes the most sense. I like to do my regular energy attempts 2 at a time, and I still get a fair amount. So I mean, and the reason why I do it is I do it casually through the day too as well. So if I hoard up a bunch of energy to help with my 600, that helps with my 600 too as well. And I mean, I feel like I get a better drop rate doing 2. I've heard 3 at a time works really well too. So not just going in there and spending all of your energy at once. You feel like you're getting less and less, and you're getting 1 or 2 at a time that way. It's going to feel like forever, of course. So trying a different farming strategy right there might help too as well.
All right. Next question for someone who's not my apprentice. Good old Maurice.
Good old Maurice. Question to you from Matthew, or Matthew. I don't know how we pronounce it. The question is: do you prefer tanks or attackers for Gear 13, and why?
I guess a lot depends on the physical pieces that are going to be enhanced by mods, and of course the Gear 13. There are attacking characters that get pretty crappy like stat modifiers to go to Gear 13, and there are some that are great, like Night Sister Spirit, for example, Colonel Stark, even R2D2. I know he's not an attacker, but I mean they get a massive amount of agility or tactics or strength, whatever determines their physical damage. Those are going to be, and like look for the characters that have the bayonets and all the extra physical damage that will be increased by those offense sets, the offense primaries, the offense secondaries. You want to look for the characters that get the most bang for the buck. Night Sister Spirit's a good one. Mother Talzin's a very, very good one. First Order Executioner is a very good one. There are some attackers like Grandmaster Yoda. While he's a support, he is an attacking character, but his upgrades are not very good. I mean, a lot of these characters are basically just empty speed is what you're getting at Gear 13, whereas other characters are better value. Like you look at L3 on the tank department, she gets a massive amount of defense that can be modified through mods. So some of those defensive percentage secondaries are actually quite useful for characters like fives, like L3. Look for characters with huge health pools, especially like a tank that gets, like Crew, for instance, we talked about him earlier. He gets a furnace, and he gets, I believe, a med pack too. So that's 12,000-ish extra health that he gets when you take him to Gear 13. And then those health primaries really start to give you even more bang for your buck. So, if you're on the pace that the majority of the community is, like a Gear 13 every week or two, then do try to make the very best decisions for your mod inventory. Don't just follow the Joneses and do all 5 Night Sisters, do all 5 Sith Empire. Do what is best for your personal roster and the mods you have to put on those characters.
All right. Next question, back up top to Warrior.
Okay. So Warrior question from Wolffell, and the question is: do you think it would be possible or a good idea to add divisions to territory wars? So instead of rewarding higher guilds by dropping people for easier matchups.
I need to know his plan a little bit differently. So maybe if you guys have an idea of what you think he's thinking about, then I can speak on it. But I'm not really sure. Right now, they currently pair teams up against other teams. You're talking about like a Grand Arena Championships style bracket, because if they did that, the biggest guilds aren't going to break it down They're not going to voluntarily break down anyway. They're going to want to still compete at the highest end. And once mergers happen, they happen. So I don't really think
I mean, I can guess at what he's asking, which is effectively like, and because I can tell you, because our guild doesn't have territory wars as mandatory. So typically we have about 40 to 42 people queuing up for territory war. We do that not because of trying to get easier matchups or anything. We just want the people that want to participate joining, and those that don't, that way they're not hurting the rest of the guild. What we're finding, though, is that our regular GP is around like 208 million GP right now, but sometimes our matchups are against guilds that are like 170, 180. And so we don't know how many people they queued up with. They might have queued up with the same number. They might have queued up with the same number of people and then just got really screwed on the matchup, or they have the enough GP with more people that matches our GP for what's queued up. So I think the question he's asking is, should like my 210 guild be able to face a 170 guild just because we're not going in with full? And should there be some kind of division set up where you're only facing people that are, like if I'm 208, we're only facing guilds that are 200 to 210, and somehow they're trying to set up the matchup that way.
And so they can't do that. They have to do participatory GP, not guild GP. Because if you've got 10 people that are participating and they each had 3 million, that's 30 million that you don't have participating. Why would you be handicapped by forcing yourself to have to go against another 210 million guild when you only have 180 million? And if you go against 180 million GP guild, then it's 180 to 180. You've got the advantage of a couple maybe better teams potentially, and they have the benefit of additional people with additional teams and rosters. It all works out GP to GP wise. Unless they get super, super technical and try and figure out like how many, Zetas a team has compared to another team. And they can't do that. Just, Zetas are worked into your GP. There's 2,500 in a Zeta, and it's a huge boost. So, honestly, there's no way for them to do that. And if they did that, it would actually be unfair to you guys. Because you'd be going against a team that had 210 mil, you'd be 210 mil, but you'd have 180 participating against that. You'd be at a 30 mil disadvantage because you're an awesome guild that allows people to choose to not participate if they don't. Almost all guilds do that. My alt account, there's only 43 right now that are signed up, kind of thing. It's not. We don't have a full 50 people that participate either. I get totally what you're saying, and we're not throwing our matches or anything. Everyone who wants to play plays, and the teams we're facing are sometimes better than us, sometimes the same, and sometimes slightly worse. And the matchup system I think is as good as it gets for territory wars. I think territory wars matchups actually pretty fair, surprisingly, comparatively to other issues that we've had with other stuff. On my free to play and on my whale account, I have no problems with how they're running territory wars. In fact, it's my favorite mode. I like it more than Grand Arena.
All right. Next question for young Abe Lincoln.
All right. Really? All right, Xylo Lincoln. Question from Epic Fails. Do you think instead of replay, live PvP with a live view mode, like some card games out there like Hearthstone and Witcher, would be better?
Well, 4 score back in my day. No, I'm just kidding.
What the hell? That was like Abe Lincoln meets someone from the South. What the?
Was it Abe Lincoln from the South, I thought? Or was he? I don't know.
Yeah, Bubba Lincoln.
I mean, I'm not like a game decoder or anything like that, or a game creator or anything like that. I mean, I'm always open to trying. I don't know. I feel like this is a really bad question for me, Finn.
Well, use your brain, Lincoln.
I don't.
So I'll give you another.
All right, the weed is finally started to hit him. Stoner Jedi, damn it!
Finally, what?
So I'll say that this is probably going to be. It wouldn't be bad if they did like a view mode for it. It's again, remember, it's not a live PvP in the sense that you're playing against somebody that is active, right? So you're not going to necessarily be able to. The other person is not playing. You're playing against a static defense, whatever their team is on Grand Arena Championships, Arena, whatever it is. It's a static thing. They're not actively doing anything. So you can get people that do that. there are games that I play that have that kind of view mode, even though that the other person has a defense that is set. And so it's not live on both sides. So it would be nice if you had that option, but ultimately you need a replay. So it can't be an instead, because unless you are on to watch the live PvP, then you still won't be able to get the final result that you need, which is being able to see whether or not somebody cheated. I mean, ultimately, part of it is to try and see how the person played and what they did with their teams. But you need the replay because you're not going to be watching your phone 24/7. And so you won't know otherwise when the person attacked in order to see it. So,
I mean, even mirroring what they post, like an, how you post
just a simple battle log of what they used against would be like the most basic thing. I think replay would make it even better because we would be able to see like the specific details of it.
Turn orders,
Live PvP, unfortunately, doesn't add a lot to it. It would be nice for people, I think, if they had it, but it kind of falls, in my opinion, in the same thing as a sandbox, which is what is the purpose of a live PvP if we give you a replay? So, nice, but not instead.
For me, it would be to bring Finn all the time.
Well, you'll do that in April. That's what April is for.
All right.
All right.
Next question for someone that's not a Southern Abe Lincoln.
Well, I'll give it another question.
Well, okay.
So, Xylo, question to you from DSP. With clone rewards incoming, will the named Jedi, Mace, Kit Fisto, and others who've been in the game forever get a rework as well?
Well, first off, MC Strong, what's up, DSP? Yeah, man. I mean, look at what they've done with the whole Separatist faction, right? The Galactic Republic faction definitely has more depth, but there's a lot of solid characters in there already. But then you can pick, about 5 Jedi in there too as well that, are falling through the cracks, day one characters. The kits are lacking any value really. I mean, just off the top of my head, you got Ethkoth, Luminara, Plo Koon's good as is. I mean, there's been a lot of solid counters for Plo Koon. I mean, the Guardian, the Consular, you can easily make valuable characters out of them still just with the Galactic Republic tag. And I think going forward, they're going to try and Amagundi, the counter lead. They could definitely do something interesting with the counter lead in general. So I think there's a lot of good potential characters we already have for reworks. And then again, you want to keep in mind the nesting doll aspect of it too with Shaak Ti. I still think that Shaak Ti has, a lot of flexibility, either in the Padme team as the 5th or being the leader herself in the clone team. And obviously we're going to get more clones. So maybe potentially they want Shaak Ti to have some value in an all Jedi team as well. So I think that moving forward that they have a lot of potential to make the rework for the Jedi kind of like they did with the Geos. I'm not saying they're going to give them like a hive mind mechanic or anything like that, but give them more group synergy together. That way, if they don't fit in these other top tier teams, why not make them a B grade team themselves, just like they did with the Geos or, Grievous. I mean, he's an A-, A+ team for sure. So, I mean, like, it's just how they rework them, and they got to make them relevant for light side GOTB as well. So.
All right. Now we go to not a Southern Abe Lincoln.
I don't know what to call unless he wants to be Abe Lincoln. I don't.
Do you want to be a Southern Abe Lincoln, Good Old Maurice?
I'm not Abe Lincoln.
Don't hate. Don't hate, Xylo. Don't hate.
Yeah, just kidding.
All right, Good Old Maurice next.
Don't hate the president. Hate the impersonator.
How about you listen to us, Grant?
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, sure.
I have glasses on.
Good old Grant.
Is that your way of becoming Ulysses S. Grant?
Please ask that question for this goes further down the rabbit hole. Please.
Yeah,
I like that one. Good old Grant. Yeah.
It's just like glasses on, good old Grant. Glasses on, good old Maurice.
When he combines his power.
What's up,
All right.
GOG?
So good old Maurice, question from Epic Fails says, do you think Malevolence will break ships again with the kit from the event, or will it change like Mace, etc., when issued because it is way too OP and the Mace ship Ultimate has a longer cooldown?
I think a lot depends on the ships we get with it. I don't. I think this Vulture Droid is the first one. There's a lot of the I think it's overcharged, the little green lightning icon. I think there's it could we could probably use another ship or two with that sort of synergy. I don't to be determined, I guess. It's I'm not sure. Does anybody know the base speed of the ship, like where it stacks up?
Over 9,000.
I don't think they released it yet.
Yeah, because I've seen the abilities, I just haven't seen the core stats of it. So I think a lot depends on the base speed of the ship too. I mean, if it's lightning fast, then that's going to be a problem. But if it is one of the slower ones, like if it's like Chimera type speed, there are going to be ways to battle it. I mean, there's ways to beat everything. I think it will. One of these two ships, Negotiator, more than likely, just because we have all the ships, will be the new meta. But
well, and if I could chime in too real quick, I think they're gonna like chase each other's tails, right? Like the Falcon's gonna be able to beat Kenobi, Malevolence will be able to, or Kenobi will be able to beat Malevolence, and then you know what I mean? It'll be like a rock paper scissors ship meta.
Yeah, just we'll see. I don't think we have enough ship. I mean, right now we got the Vulture Droid and we got the bugs. There's tons of separatists left in the game that could still get ships. Dooku, Asajj, maybe some separatists we don't even have in the game yet. So there's a lot to come out, I think, for the fleet.
All right. Back up top to our man Warrior.
So I know Warrior, what you brought an alternate persona onto the stream before. I'm trying to remember who it is. So we've already had Abe Lincoln and good old Grant.
Southern Lincoln and good old Grant.
I do weird, silly voices, and when it happens, it happens. You got to catch the first time. I can't replicate that kind of crap.
I have to go back and find it. We have to keep a track of Warrior's alternate personas. Okay. Question from What Else 73. He says, I am at 4.4 million GP, and I'll let me know if you need me to repeat these because there's gears and stuff for this. So I use Kira at gear 10, L3 at gear 12, Vandor at gear 11, Stormtrooper Han at gear 9, and Captain Han at gear 8 on defense in Grand Arena Championships. My last two matches, they prevented full clear. Should I leave Stormtrooper Han at gear 9 and Captain Han at gear 8 or upgrade them? Not sure if the holds are due to underestimation or being that they are a good defensive team.
Well, I think that if you're getting defensive holds, then you should continue doing what works for your matchups. And they're probably not used to seeing that. And with Stormtrooper Han, he's kind of an idiot, stupid, squishy tank, but he does provide a bunch of turn meter for the team. That doesn't help them any. And so they'll probably try to not hit him, but then they have to hit him because he's tanking. So then they'll probably hit L3, which is just a brick wall, so it's pointless. So it's kind of a bit of a confusing team, I think, for people to try and figure out. So that's probably where they're coming into it. They're like not wanting to hit, Stormtrooper Han and feed you turn meter, but bottom line, they probably should. But then you got Vandor there that's going to revive him. So it's not bad. Captain Han Solo, I would invest more in him. He's only gear 8. And I feel like he's a phenomenal team player. Days on basic is very rare. It actually is. Not a lot of characters have that. So he works phenomenal in many different game modes, from territory wars, territory battles, Grand Arena, all of that. So for him, I would continue to level him up. Gear 8's just not enough. And if the team did work at some point, it may not, because he may just get, driven through. So level him up a little bit more. I think gear 9 for Stormtrooper Han is probably sufficient for that tank, because he kind of, the point of him is that he does get hit and die. And people don't want that when they're fighting. They're going to try not to kill him because they don't want to feed all that extra turn meter. So I think that he's got a built-in discouraging mechanic that kind of keeps people from steamrolling him. Plus, they have to hit Vandor, because Vandor is just going to bring him back to life. So, yeah, I think you're probably good at gear 9 for now with the 1, but I'd probably take Captain Han Solo from gear 8 to at least gear 10. Give him a couple more gear levels. It's not too difficult for him to take him up to gear 10. And I think you'll see a little bit more durability out of the team. And keep doing that team if it's working for you.
Okay. Next question to Southern Abe Lincoln in My Apprentice.
All right. So Xylo question from Danilo Papayas, and he says CG already stated they would not implement a sandbox mode, probably because they see no money in it. Wouldn't limited attempts that you can refresh with crystals be perfect in this case?
Yeah, I mean, I'll reference my buddy the Dagger. The Dagger referenced this a couple of times too, as well. Like, it's some way to incentivizing it. The only way to seem to incentivize it is crystals. Credits would be minuscule compared to their money. You know what I mean? Like, they would need to get people to spend crystals, and it's the top dollar in the game. So I mean, if people are willing to spend 50, 100 refreshes of crystals, that affects
You are so going to get us copyrighted striked with all that music. I'm joking.
Well, if he's talking over it, it should be fine. If they can't, yeah.
I know. I'm just joking. There's like
he freaked him out. My apprentice needs his
cartoons. I have music in it. I have like so many different things sound wise in the back of my head. I didn't even hear it. So I mean, honestly, man, now I lost my train of thought, man. It's
you're referencing the Dagger with regards to the sandbox.
Yes, the sandbox. I mean, that's the only way that they're going to get any incent out of it. And then if they do it, it's going to be something really greedy, right? Like, it's going to start off like, oh, you can do 3 battles a day for like 10 crystal refreshes. And then the attempts will start like doubling, like when you do your refreshes for energy and stuff like that, right? So they'll do it to incentivize you to do testing on your own, but also to do it efficiently, right? So, I mean, you gotta you gotta figure that. He's like shoving his hand in my mouth. You gotta think that they want you to test, but they also want you to not be able to monetize free content like that, right? Like, that's their biggest concern. So I think being efficient and doing like 2 or 3 battles outside of an arena, or like where you could pick the team you're facing specifically, I think that would be huge, especially for people like us, like content creators, making counters, what you want to go up against, the grade of difficulty you want to go up against to test. I think a lot of that would incentivize me to spend those 3 crystal refreshes that I mentioned, the 30s, and then I'd possibly spend the doubles just to keep testing and making content. And again, it'll incentivize people to, make sure that they're getting first in both arenas, getting max rewards, and still, probably even spending $10-$20 a month on extra crystal income. So there you go.
All right. Next question for Ulysses S. Maurice.
Good old Grant. Okay. Question from Pat Barazi, and her question is: if your guild is setting geos on defense, who's the fleet commander and who are the reinforcements?
Well, pretty much Tarkin. Yeah, Tarkin is the traditional cap ship for the geos, right? And plus, I mean, that leaves you with a Chimera team to take out any of those annoying mace fleets, and then of course your MILF team. So I would say Tarkin. Not that, I mean, geos are kind of a I don't know. I don't want to say they're kind of a throwaway easy team, because I haven't really faced too many Gear 13 geos yet. So I don't know if that's going to change it, but Tarkin.
All right.
And then reinforcements. What were you saying?
Oh, I'm sorry, reinforcements. I do like Spy out of reinforcements. It does kind of force a taunt on another character, especially if it's decked all the way out. I believe it gives a second taunt. So even if like a taunter like Houndstooth or like Biggs or Clone Sergeant, whoever they have is taunting, you kind of pull another one out from behind it and kind of focus down that ship. Sith Bomber is not terrible. If you guys have it decked out, if you guys got the Gear 13 Sith Marauder, that's not a terrible ship to bring in off the reinforcements with that team. Some of the Sith ships that won't cripple your offensive teams. I assume if you're putting geos on defense, you guys are kind of keeping a more offensive oriented strategy, I guess. So you want to make sure that if you do keep 2 solid fleets, you want to make sure that you get your 21, 22 banners with it. I don't know. It's because you don't want to put cheese on defense, but you don't want to sacrifice and just cripple the strategy you guys are going with. So, yeah.
All right, spoken like
That's not the best answer. Yeah.
Spoken like a perfect 3-star general. Next, next question for Weekend Warrior.
Okay, so Warrior, question to you from Drevel's Treasure. For you, his question is: what is your favorite counter to the Padme, GK, Anakin, 3PO, and Zeta Barris team on defense during territory wars in Grand Arena?
Oh, so I don't ever face it in Grand Arena because everyone that I face uses it on offense because it's such an amazing offensive tool. We did just face it in Territory Wars, and we went through it pretty decently, but I'm trying to remember what team we used. I'm not trying to be stingy with info. I can't remember off the top of my head which team that we used. We use weird comps. We don't use like the traditional teams. I can tell you, don't do mirror matches. Don't do Padme versus Padme. It's super annoying. I'm trying to think which one we used.
I'm assuming it's not like one of the big teams like the Triumvirate or anything like that.
Oh no, you have to kill Padme. You've got to use a meta team. It's not a choice.
Oh, okay. So it's not that strange.
It's all Gear 13. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to remember. I don't. You'll have to come back to me. I'll have to look back into them. Yep.
All right. So we'll come back to Warrior again at his next question and see if he remembers, but we'll have another question at that time. All right. Xylo, question to you from Vincent Morales. Says, how important is Padme going to be now that it became so easy to obtain her 7-star?
Oh yeah, that there's real important, Bubba. No, yeah, it's super important.
It's like Abraham Clinton now. I don't know what the hell you're doing anymore, Xylo.
I'll be bringing up my name with these crazy impersonations there, Finn.
I just feel like I gotta give my best when I can there, Finn.
Now you sound like a crying Abraham Clinton. I don't know what the hell is going on.
All right, yeah, so Padme. Yeah, in my opinion, she's probably the second best team in the game right now. So I think they made them a little more accessible on accident in a sense, right? Like, I shouldn't say accident either, because the event was so difficult the first time around because we didn't have all these nice reworks and new characters that were ready for this end game GOTB, right? So nobody thought the GOs with the mass assist mechanic would be able to kill a mass assisting a team like Padme because she doesn't have all the pieces there in that event. So I think that the first time around is meant to be more difficult in any legendary or epic event now. Is that what we're calling Malik, right? An epic event, something like that. I think that they're going to incentivize it to be more difficult, of course, the first time around, but they're also going to make sure that you have a chance to get her the second time around before light side GOTB comes around, because you're going to need her for that. I mean, the event is on Geonosis, right? So, I mean, she's going to be required for light side GOTB. You're going to need her at Gear 12, potentially Gear 13. And, yeah, I mean, now that Gear 13's here, your Gear 12 Padme teams are encountering the Darth Revan teams as easy. So guess what? We have to match that gear check and gear level too, as well as matching it for the content for GOTB. So make sure you're getting your Padme team up with the Zetas, at least get them up to Gear 12, get them rocking and rolling. And then sooner or later, you're going to have to start making that push to 4 full Gear 13 teams on both light and dark side. So it's just making the right decisions here and being patient at this point. So very important to get Padme.
All right. Next question for, I don't even know what to call you anymore. Are you good old Maurice or good old Grant right now?
Glasses are on.
Okay, good old Grant. All right, so good old Grant, question to you from Mostef Isley, and he says, CG said that another Malik-style event is in the works. Some speculated that it's Clone Wars related, but what if it is Episode 9 related? Which character do you think is Malik event worthy?
Oh, Hux? I mean, are we really missing any relevant, at least thus far? I mean, all the Resistance characters are pretty much in the game, right? I mean, are we missing like a key Resistance character from the first two?
The only ones might be, depending on how you view it, Leia and Luke. Old Man Luke and Admiral Leia.
Hermit Luke.
I don't know about Hermit Luke. Maybe. Well, yes, I guess because he is iconic, whereas Hux is not really. I definitely. I think that's actually. I think that's probably more likely than a clone situation, because the way they worded it in the post, it doesn't sound like it's even remotely close to being ready. So I think that from context clues from the post, I think that would line up more like on a timeline. So it'd be nice to see the Resistance. Maybe Hermit Luke. Maybe you see the Resistance, see the First Order, get a little bit of love. Because even Jedi Training Rey is starting to get a bit dated. People aren't using her as much as they used to. So it'd be nice to see a character come out that really gives existing characters you have, a little jolt. So
the chat is potentially saying Snoke. Fat Tony said each battle would give you half of his body. So it's kind of like
there you go. Pretty good. There you go.
It'd be like the Malik event too. You have to unlock one half of Snoke on light side and then another half on the dark side.
And then you assemble him together.
And you glue him together.
Well, I like the new battle they created, but why am I facing just the lower half of something? Just two legs.
His legs just
runs over and comes over and kicks me in the head.
All right. So there you go with that.
Back up to Warrior.
Back up to Warrior. Warrior, just checking in again. Any thoughts on the Padme question, or ready for your next one?
I'm ready for my next one. I went back and we actually deleted the Grand Arena Championship we just did against Moss, so I can't even look and see which team we did.
Gotcha. Okay. So question to you from Darsan 1972. He says, I have Anakin gear 12 and Padme almost gear 12. Should I gear Ahsoka next or start the long gear for Shaak Ti so when I can farm her, she will be gear 11? Is Warrior on mute?
Warrior.
Oops. Sorry, I'm off of mute now. I was just chatting away. So I think that, Shaak Ti's great. I use her a lot. But I don't think that once the clones get reworked that she's going to be a vital, essential, necessary piece. I think they're going to introduce more clones, and there's going to be multiple clone teams you can do. So I don't think she's going to be a have to. So I would stick with what you're doing instead of moving over to Shaak Ti.
Well, and then real quick for that, then would you like Shaak Ti more as the fifth in the Padme team or as the clone synergy character?
She could be either. You could either use it as a part of a second clone team, one for offense, one for defense type thing, or you could use her in a Padme team, because we do that. We do use Shaak Ti. She dispels on basic. It's amazing. So
and the stealth, yeah,
for sure.
Okay. Next question for Southern Abe Lincoln. Finn.
All right, here we go. Question for Bubba Clinton, or Bubba Lincoln, or whatever he's going by now.
It's a plethora of names.
Yeah. Han Cholo, question about modding Zalbar. What kind of set bonuses do you want, and is speed important on him?
I mean, it's one of those characters to where speed's not important, but having a little bit of secondary speed here and there helps. Primaries, I went with mainly health just because he's regenerated a lot of health and protection. You can also go with like health and defense. More defense on him makes him that much better. So, like, for example, I can tell you what mods I gave him too as well. The cross and the circle are protection. A lot of flat protection on there too as well. And then for the arrow, I went with what was it? Defense? Yeah, a defense arrow and then a defense triangle too as well. So when he has that Zeta, he's getting that massive increase of defense. So you're kind of balancing out that protection with some more defense too as well. So he's got his own natural crit avoidance. It basically just makes him uncrittable, and then to the point where his health and protection's regenerating so much. You just want to load up as much protection and flat protection and protection percentage, and then fill that with some speed where you can, like +5 here, +5 there. Plus, if you can get a couple of good protection flat statistics with the good speed, go for it. I mean, I'm not going to disincentivize your speed, of course, but you don't want him just also standing there and not taking any turns or moving, because then that's going to have him a hard time getting out of like his stun locks or getting his taunt back up again. So you want to kind of balance that speed out too as well. But again, you don't need to go for like +20 speed mods on him, right? You're just looking for good bonus protection stats. And then what was another one too? Some crit chance on him too also helps as well. But again, all of your mods aren't going to be perfect. You're just mainly looking for your best protection secondaries that complement the speed with them. So.
All right. So we are now on to questions. We have a few questions that I saved up for kind of around the corn. So we'll kind of just let everyone kind of chime in here, and then got some fun questions. So I'll start with you, good old Maurice, on this one, and then we'll go around. Slama MC. Question is, I was disappointed by the matchmaking and final rewards for Grand Arena Championships. What are your initial impressions? So starting with you.
Well, remember that it's an exhibition, so matchmaking does need some more tweaking. I guess, that it's the Gear 13. You guys talked about it on your show. We've talked about it on ours. I'm sure Warrior has at least touched on one of his. Like the Gear 13 doesn't scale properly. It needs more GP. So if they fix that a little bit, it'll make it better. But matchmaking is not ideal. But it is. Prior to Gear 13, I thought it was very fair, but Gear 13 has kind of switched up a little bit, so that's something that could maybe fix. What was the second part of the question?
That was matchmaking and the rewards.
Rewards for a month's work of work are a little underwhelming. Even if you get first place in Kyber, that's enough currency to get one full component of one piece. Like it's like enough to get one of the Gear 12 Plus components, a 50 stack of one component for a month's worth of work. You do get the Zeta mats and stuff along the way, but I think they could increase them a little bit. But if they do increase it, they need to do it equally across the board. That way it won't give these cheaters even more reason to do so. So, I think the rewards can be looked at. I don't think they're terrible. I mean, you do get a lot of experience playing the actual game mode. You get to see. I mean, it's really the only time you could really test your stuff. So, I mean, there is some value in that and seeing how your teams perform and stuff. But, rewards are underwhelming. Matchmaking is okay. It's just hopefully they adjust to Gear 13.
Okay. Warrior, any thoughts on that?
No, but I actually just think I remember we used the Triumvirate, I'm pretty sure.
There we go.
Yeah. I think I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that's what I used.
Okay. And no real thoughts on the matchmaking or the rewards in GAC?
Well, the rewards are trash. I'm sorry. I feel like everything they do reward-wise sucks for the most part. There's very few times that I look at the rewards and go, wow, they did a good job building a reward set, with the exception of GOTB. GOTB, when I got rewards the last couple of times, I looked at it and went, okay, 6 days, that's what I got, not bad. But we didn't get a loot box like GOTB with GAC, which is, there's something wrong with that. Everyone, when they finished, got like some currency. It should have been a reward box that everybody got. And they'll fight and say, well, we gave reward boxes intermittently as we went up. Those reward boxes were trash. They were absolute trash. The only one that was worth anything at all was Kyber. which not everybody hit. Well, a lot of people didn't hit. So I was like 128 points away from Kyber at the end or something like that. Stupid. So I did not get the last reward box. But even then, it was only a couple Zetas, a couple of Omegas, a couple of Mark III ability mats, and a couple hundred crystals. It was trash for a month of investment. I totally agree. I do feel like it's weird. They're like the most giving company in like the world when it comes to like arena crystals. They give away, a couple $100 of crystals every single month to, tons of people who are in the top in both regular and ships arena. I get like $180 in free crystals every month because I'm first place in both arenas. And there's a lot of people that do that. So they're super generous with crystals in arena, but then you turn around and look at like what they gave for Grand Arena Championships, and it's like, all right, Uncle Bob, thanks for giving me the $2 for my birthday. It's just like frustrating because they could give so much more.
Okay. So for the next around the corn, we'll start with you, Xylo, and then we'll go to good old Maurice, and then we'll just kind of keep on going around that way. So questions, we'll start with you, Xylo. Andrew Cruikshank says, what ability from any toon do you always look forward to using? I personally love the snips because when she does her big attack, I just imagine Kenobi and Anakin smiling.
Oh, man. So right now for me, it's Marauder throwing the sabers. Oh, man. It's just like, oh, your Malik has almost 200,000 health. Okay. Womp. One shots him. No problem. Oh, man. I love it. And then if I had to pick a second one, it would probably be Grievous's AoE. Ever since I took him up to gear 13, the dude's just a basically wrecking ball. Like, he comes through. He's like, oh, look at all 5 of these guys. AoE, you're dead. You know what I mean? Like, so those two have just been really, really like my fun toys right now, right? Like those are the guys I'm enjoying right now, and hopefully my next one's gonna be Jedi and Anakin. So,
good old Maurice. What about you? Any ability animation in particular, or any ability you look forward to using?
Well, I use droids in arena, so I do like one-shotting Malik with Grievous. But it's I don't know, man. It's probably young Han, his big shot, because you got to build it up, and then when it's finally ready, you just unleash this huge amount of damage on a character. If you fuel up protection, like you can not only potentially take out an entire enemy, like just one shot, you can also heal up another character like Vandor to keep his protection up. I really like young Han's ability.
All right. And Warrior, how about you?
So I have a couple. So anytime you get someone under 50% health and Savage gets to stomp them into oblivion, that's fun. You're like, what? Yeah. It smack ya. I freaking love stacking potency on basic with Tarkin and then being like, Dovahkiin, and like dropping the mad AoE bomb and doing like, 80K to everybody and watching the whole team just crumble. So I love Tarkins. I love Savage. I used to, and I still do. It just, I guess I've seen it enough. I'm not as, super excited about it. But one of my favorite modes was when Scion goes Super Saiyan, when he like does his whole like bend over and then busts his chest out. That move is just fun to do, even though it doesn't hurt anyone. It's him, going into crazy mode. I love that move. So there's a couple of really, really cool animations that they've got in the game that I really enjoy when they trigger.
And Ranger, how about you? Well, we can chime in on this one.
Cup.
Really?
Nah. I mean,
I could probably guess Rangers.
What do you think?
Probably Darth Revan's AoE.
Damn right.
We've had some good ones already.
Well, mine doesn't fit in with any of you guys. So mine's different. Well, one of mine was Savage, because Savage was my original kind of vanity character. But the other one that always makes me happy every single time I use it is Wicket's Gorilla Strike. Because in the movie, when he throws the bolas, he like gets himself tangled up and falls down. But it succeeds every time in the game, and it always makes me smile when he does it. Like every time I use it, because he just
Why
takes
am
it
I not surprised?
and he never falls down. It's like, yay, Wicket won. Wicket did his attack correctly, and it makes me smile.
Does he fall in the game when he does the rock throw? No.
He does not. That's why it makes me happy, because he succeeds in the game, but in the movie he didn't. So it's kind of like a warm fuzzy every time I see that. All right, Warrior, we'll start with you on this one. What's the latest developments in the top tier TW defenses? So what's like the newest defensive team you've started to put?
Well, to be fair, I'm not going to disclose what we used in this very, very, very last battle. They just developed the defense, the very last defense we used against Ma, and it worked very well. We had almost a 200-point victory, and we were at over 20,800 on offense. So they were geniuses, the teams that they chose to use for offense and defense. I'm not going to route that team out yet.
Fair enough.
They're just some high-end, solid offensive and defensive teams, of course. General Grievous teams are really, really great, but there's some great substitutions. Throwing Newt on those teams is great. A lot of people don't have Wat Tambor, but we do. So having him in there as your fifth is pretty awesome. Or just getting your Droideka up over to 200 speed, remembering his speed. He gets 50% more speed, which puts him at 300 speed. Having a 300 speed Droideka is pretty awesome. So, there's some variants that we can do with that. Using Jedis and Galactic Republics intermittently, having some Jedi on Padme teams like Yoda or Barisafi, whereas sometimes we're switching and putting Galactic Republic over with Jedi Knight Revan like Anakin. Some people think Anakin should be with Padme, but having him over with Jedi Knight Revan. So we try to have some variants of the teams, and I mentioned just briefly that like this last battle, I'm sure it'll get out that we did not use Bastila Fallen on defense, and the Darth Revan teams held just as well as any Darth Revan team does, and it freed up Fallen Bastila to use on offense, which helped us get perfect 20s through 50 battles. So just weird little tweaks like that. But there's unlike for the exact teams we just used, I'm not going to do that to the team. But there is a lot of for everybody, for general population, just to know that we've gone over and talked about previously that I've talked about. So they're just trying to evolve the tip of the spear for us, but most of what we're doing isn't even relevant to the rest of the general population playing, to be honest.
If you're using Wallet,
you're going to still want to, follow there's this bow curve, and you don't want to be on the end of the bow curve on either way. You don't want to be on the left side where it's low and it's all the newbie players. You don't want to be on the right side where it's all the cutting edge stuff, because some of that stuff doesn't work without you having certain speed compositions, certain speed sets that you can set gear 13 or certain characters unlocked that you may not otherwise have unlocked. So it's kind of, you really want to be in that middle. There are some on Twitter. There was a guy who posted, it was on Reddit too and Facebook as well, just like a huge guide on Grand Arena teams and what people are using. And while I disagree with some of the counters or disagree with some of the he put Padme as like a B team instead of like an A team, I was kind of like, nah, he doesn't know. But that's okay, because the majority of the info is really quality information and gives people a really good idea of what teams on offense or defense can be used. I will tell you there are some little things I like to do that I'll disclose just for Grand Arena, and you can use them in Territory Wars, is if you have clones, just focus on your Shakti and get her over 320 speed. And the reason why I say that is it's really easy to get Stark to about 300. A lot of people can do that, and then they get an extra 20. He gets an extra 20 speed from the lead, so he's it's really easy for people to use their Imperial Troopers and get them really, really fast. And Imperial Troopers fast can kill a lot, even with the rest of them modded like crap. Like mine are modded terrible. I looked at my Death Trooper mods and I was like, he's 187 speed. He has like no sets that even match, and I'm just like, what the hell did I do? But I haven't fixed it yet either. But they decimate. But if you can get her faster than their Stark with bonuses, they will run into a wall. And the only solution they'll have is Nest. And the funny thing is a lot of people will set Nest on defense because it forces a Treya hand, and then they'll have like bugs on defense, and so it forces you to decide, do you want to use Treya against bugs, or do you want to use Treya against her, and so it kind of causes them to pick or choose. And if you have the clones out there, they're going to try to use like Imperial Troopers or something, or the bugs, and they'll lose because she'll go first. So when she goes first, it's the same thing as when the Imperial Troopers go first. I had 4 defenses on my last Grand Arena with my clones, and so that's fun. So if you got the ability to make like one character really, really fast, just one. A lot of people focus on Stark, right? Well, if you have one set and you want to make your clones really, really fun, just put it on her and watch what happens.
All right.
Good old Maurice, Xylo, any fun teams that you guys have been putting on defense with kind of the latest ones? Any interesting compositions?
I mean, my Geo's been holding pretty well. I mean, a lot of people been using the Treya Scion combo, but surprisingly, even I saved the Geos for one iteration on offense. I mean, I know we're talking defensive comps, but my Geos with the Gear 11 Spy and a Gear 11 Brood Alpha, the Zeta on Brood Alpha Unique, faced a Gear 12 Night Sister Nest team, and it came down to like the last 30 seconds, and Spy still Gear 11, mind you, Gear 11 Spy one shots Nest in the last 30 seconds of the battle. I was shocked by that. I mean, I was more surprised that they held their own and stood the test of time with her. And then of course they destroyed the Night Sisters really quickly, so Nest was just left over and countering, dazing, everything like that. But once Spy got that one quick chance to hit her with that one shot, it was over. And defense-wise, I would say I'm still kind of back and forth between Django and Boss Lead for the Bounty Hunters. It's just mainly getting the rest of the team up to par, so I'm still trying to utilize that. Defensive, the Grievous team's working out very well too. Just Gear 13 Grievous alone. I have all the other droids Gear 12 except for Droideka, and still get a lot of good holds out of those guys. That's about all I can think of, really. Nothing outside of the usual, though, I'd say.
Okay, good old Marty's pretty much the same.
Oh yeah, I think mine's more of a case of creative ways to mod existing teams. I did use Sith Assassin on my Darth Revan team a few times if I knew my opponent was using a Jedi Knight Revan counter. That way, Sith Assassin, if you clock her properly, kind of towards the end of your turn order, she'll especially if you clock her behind Sith Marauder. Sith Marauder will do his special, give everybody potency up, so it's an extra buff. Sith Assassin dispels, and that will really speed up Darth Revan getting out of that mark. So I found that pretty effective if I knew my opponent was going to use Jedi Knight Revan as a counter. But besides that, just modding techniques and stuff like that.
Okay, so let's go to the fun questions, and then we'll start wrapping it up here. So first question for Ranger, actually, from Paparazzi. She says, can you say hot and heavy 5 times fast with gusto?
Do what?
Say hot and heavy 5 times fast with gusto.
With gusto? With emphasis?
Yep.
Hot, heavy, hot, heavy, hot, heavy, hot, heavy, hot, heavy.
There you go.
What have I done?
I don't know. All right. Next question from Darth Hideous. Question, why does Xylo have a TB hat on during Territory Wars?
Wait a minute.
Because raise up, baby.
But it's TW time.
Raise up. Tampa Bay Rays all the way, baby. Let's go.
He's not wrong.
Hey, I'm born and raised in St. Petersburg, Florida. Like 10 minutes away from my house. So I don't care.
Xylo's Bounty Hunters will have more holds than the Tampa Bay Devil Rays do this year.
Oh,
snap. Okay, we're going to move to the next question.
Oh, wow.
Okay, question from Paparazzi. if you guys, and this is more kind of like just a statement in general, if you make videos showing how your guild's territory wars plays out over time, I will watch that 1000%. I'm not in the game long enough to do that. I don't know how we would do that.
I don't either.
Honestly.
Well, that's
It'd
what
be-
happens when you play the Yankees and the Red Sox all the time. So
All right, get off the damn baseball
I was
thing.
kidding, man. It was a joke. Sorry, I touched
So-
the sore spot.
Calm down. Let's not get any
apparently
fights here. All
you've
right.
triggered him.
Yeah.
You've
I'm
triggered
just
him.
jiving. I'm just jiving.
Abraham Clinton or whatever his name is getting very upset with
Yeah,
you.
Southern
Very
Lincoln
long.
is yeah, he's getting fired up.
Ciao Cavalcanti. Question: can I cheat to replay the Padme event? It's a really fun event, and I want to complete it again, or will I get banned?
Well, you can just keep going in there with
You
Grievous.
will get
Oh, yeah,
banned.
just go in there with the Gear 13 Grievous and
out.
like
Yeah, you shouldn't have finished it the first time. That was your mistake.
Yeah, just keep backing out over and over.
Force closed right at the end. That should have been what you did. All right, Vincent Morales. Questions: what are you guys looking forward to this month? Let's start with Warrior. So August, a interesting month for Galaxy of Heroes. What are you looking for this month? Looking forward to.
I'm thinking that this month they've been working on it for a while, probably as the clones, reworks and ads, and possibly like one new ship. I would love to say there's more ships, but realistically, we'll be lucky if we get one more. Unfortunately, as for the few of us, the like 5 of us that like ships, we're just totally screwed. But yeah, I think the clones are coming out. I think they're pretty eminent. And so I think that, that was kind of the content they expected to roll out this month, that they had already planned and already worked on. They're probably just working the kinks out right now. So I'm excited to see the clones coming from, it was funny. It was like they sucked, and then the Zetas came into the game and they became the powerhouse in phase 2 and phase 4 of the Hat Raid. The Princess Zodi team, and I didn't Zeta Cody until like 6 months later. Finally, I was like, screw it, I'll do it, and so I did it. And then there was like a brand new team that came out that could solo the whole thing. Like the Wampinator came out like a week after my Zodi Zeta, so I was just like, oh damn it, that's the one I regret. I was like, yeah, this sucks. So I'm hoping that they get, put back into glory and stuff. And I have a Shakti that's 328 speed, I think. So I do like sometimes to use her on offense, sometimes on defense. So I'm hoping that this rework makes it to where I can create one really BA team for Territory Wars and Arena.
You've got both Zetas on Shakti?
Oh yeah, the day that she came out, I double Zeted her.
All right, good. I'm thinking about the Retribution one myself as my next one, so excellent news.
A lot of people say that you can use Nest to kill them, and people say, well, you can use Nest to kill the bugs and stuff, but at the highest end, that's freaking impossible. I've tried it. I have a Gear 13 Nest for the record too, with a lot of offense and speed, and you can chew and the regeneration of health and protection on both the bugs and on the clones make it impossible. Even if you do her special, which can, stun them and do a bunch of damage, it's not enough. And then they come out of stun and just start regenerating again. It's a nightmare. So if that works, it only works if you're going against you've got a Gear 10 Nest going against Gear 8 clones. That's the reason why that counter works. That's it. At the highest end, you'll time out every time. I used a Gear 13 Nest against bugs on full auto for the first 4 minutes to try to just get her offense stack. And by the end, she was hitting for 60, 70,000, and it still wasn't enough to clear out the bugs. And the bugs were Gear 12. Now what I'm seeing is all Gear 13. So it's not as viable as a lot of people think.
Well, I think I know what good old Maurice is looking forward to this month, putting the other Zeta on Shakti now. So that's so anything else you're looking forward to this month, good old Maurice?
Yeah, you mentioned it. I'm kind of completing the clones team. I mean, I've got them all Gear 12. I spent a considerable amount of time farming and collecting the right mods for Clone Sergeant. Now he's pretty amped up. I don't mind the downtime from Grand Arena. It really allows me to utilize what I've learned and kind of redo my roster against, kind of prepare for the next one whenever we get it. So I am kind of excited about the downtime and actually time to perfect my roster, not just like panic gear and just like it's nice to have a little bit of a break, I guess.
And Xylo, what are you looking forward to this month?
Really what's next content wise. I'm really curious to see where Shock T's going. I've been chipping away at her shipments. She's like 5 stars away, or 5 shards away from 5 stars. So her farm's going to be a little bit easier. I just kind of want a better idea of where I'm going to be farming her. If not, I'm going to continue the double, triple refresh her node and then maybe chip away at her in shipments method. I really want to get her ready, at least star-wise. I do have the clones from the Zodi team back in the day. So just got to push some of the other 4 clones other than Rex to gear 12, and then have some certain pieces on Shock T too. So she's relatively close to gear 9. Potentially she could be one of my next Zetas too as well, just to start getting her ready for GOTB. And then I'm really curious to see like who's gonna follow her, like Yadi Mundi or any of the other light side Geo Jedis that we might be getting down the road, or any reworks or anything like that too. I just want to make sure I have enough materials, credits, everything, some extra mods stored away to slice for newer characters or newer stats. Just trying to think a little more outside of the box other than just the regular hoarding and looking for speed strategy right now at the moment, trying to think of some other stats and other things I can be doing right now.
All right. So we'll let everyone kind of pimp their stuff here, but we'll do it a little different because we had a question come in after questions had stopped, but it was from Urs. So I figure it's a fun question. So
not from Urs. There's no such thing.
So we'll go around the corn. You can answer the question and then pimp your stuff. So start with Warrior here. So Urz's question is, what is your favorite Star Wars game outside of SWGOH? So let you answer that and then pimp your stuff.
Lego Star Wars. I love the freaking Lego Star Wars games. They're so much fun. And you can find me on Facebook and Twitter daily, as well as on YouTube. And hopefully I'll have my my Acklay video up before the Acklay is set to be killed by some new people.
There you go. So that was Warrior, and then Mr. Xylo Takedown. Same question, and then pimp your stuff.
I'd have to say it's a toss-up between the old Bounty Hunter Jango Fett game or the original Battlefront 2 that came out back for PlayStation 2. I always liked that one because you could consistently just keep playing and get kills, and then it wasn't as advanced as it was now, but simpler gameplay at a simpler time was something I preferred. So I do like Battlefront 2 now too, of course, but I wouldn't say it has a special place in my heart like I do with those 2 games, especially since they were something that kind of, directed me more into Star Wars lore and stuff outside of the movies, and really liked those 2 aspects of it. KOTOR, I played my fair share of KOTOR, of course, but the bounty hunters are always, something interesting in the background and in all of the stories. So the bounty hunters have always interested me a little bit. And then, the clone aspect game of it, that was the Battlefront 2 for PlayStation, was actually one of the original first-person shooter games I got into. So that kind of also got me into other first-person shooter games as well. So I can always look back at that and think, oh, this kind of reminds me of the older Clone Wars when I play Battlefront now. So and then I am on YouTube as well. My YouTube channel, Takedown Games. I'm Xylo Takedown. I've been doing Grand Arena streams like a madman. Win some, lose some, of course. Nobody's perfect, right? And then I also have active live streams. Did some roster reviews last night too, so I had a lot of donations last night too. So big shout out to everybody who donated last night. Everything that you guys donate towards is going back towards my bills and things to help streaming and getting more equipment here down the road. So all the supporters, really appreciate that, you guys too. All of our new Patreons too as well. We got 3 Patreons right now: Clone Troop 211, Posse D, and then Sean the Red Ragnar Kelly. So thank you for those 3 guys for becoming Patreons. And come over, like and subscribe, hang out when we're streaming. I try not to cross streams with all the other major content creators, but I do what I can when I have the time scheduled to, especially with The Apprentice. And schedule's going back to normal. So I hope to see you guys around.
All right. And then we go to, I think it's good old Maurice now.
Yes, the spectacles are gone. Zylo kind of took my game. I also enjoyed the old Battlefront, so I'll take it way back to the Nintendo version of Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh.
Like, I don't know if that game was actually good. I mean, I was a kid, and it might have been just, you don't have too many choices. As a kid, you just got what you got. So that one I remember playing all the time growing up. So that one, we'll go with that one. But I'm good on Maurice. I'm one half of Operation Metaverse. We stream every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. EST. And also on Sunday nights, you can find me streaming with Ramon Azab on the Alliance live show. So Ramon is actually a guildmate of mine, so now I can, we can have a little banter back and forth about that. So those are on Sunday nights. Ranger joins us quite often, almost weekly now. So Sunday nights. Sunday nights at 11 p.m. So we keep Ranger even more busy than he already is. So come check us out there.
Okay. And then Ranger, do you want to do the RSG stuff? Talk about your favorite Star Wars game, and then.
Well, my favorite Star Wars game is Chaos of Symphony of the Night. I love that game. Oh, Star Wars game. God, it's so hard to pick. I got to tell you one game that. I played all the Star Wars games, but I still remember the hype and the feeling when the Old Republic MMORPG game came out. That was huge. I played that crap out of that game. And before that, way back in the game, the first original MMORPG game for Star Wars Galaxies. I played the crap out of that game. Shout out to my boys Relic from back in the day when we would log in and be surrounded by 3 different guilds trying to kill us. You log in like, okay, give me some bombs. I'm running out there. And I'm dead. Get me back into the cantina. Heal me up. I'm running back out and I'm dead again. Okay, I'll get back in there. But yeah. So if you're watching this, guys, you're watching the Jedi Academy on RSG. Do me a favor, stop what you're doing right now. Give us a thumbs up. Come on, guys, give us a thumbs up. Like and subscribe. We do all kinds of fun stuff. We got more fun stuff for you guys today. I'll be doing my mini Ross review session here and later on today, this evening, and then we'll go right into Pictionary. So we'll be doing some Pictionary with you guys tonight as well. Tomorrow we'll do D&D. Our D&D campaign continues over on Twitch. So make sure you follow and subscribe to us on Twitch. Also, do me a favor, guys. These content creators, they come out, to be here on a Saturday morning. They could be doing other stuff, but they're here answering your questions. So if you could do me a favor, support their channel. Support these content creators. Give them a thumbs up on their videos. Watch their stuff. Give them good feedback. And support them. And so you can check out our Patreon, join our Discord, all that good stuff. So I think that covers everything. With that, we're going to call this one done. Another episode of Jedi Academy in the books. So we'll see you next week, Saturday, same bat time, same bat channel, 10 a.m. Eastern, every Saturday. We can do it, minus any holidays or anything. But we will be back next week with more exciting content and guests. So make sure you support and make sure you subscribe so you can get the bell notification to know when we're streaming. So there you go. So with that, we're going to call this one wrapped up. My thanks to the panel for being here, and on behalf of myself and the crew, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on a Saturday morning, or wherever you may be. Maybe Saturday evening in Europe, wherever you may be. And have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later on for our other streams. If not, we'll see you when we see you. Peace out.